Hi, my name is Robin, and I'm here to talk about an experience or experiences that I had with what I believe to be an abduction, a series of them, and there's no one in this world, not a priest, not a psychologist, that can tell me that didn't happen. I think it started, like I was saying, with my mom. We were talking, my mom was into the paranormal, and not UFOs, but more paranormal stuff. But we used to sit out on the front stoop at night, and we would look at the stars and space. And I started thinking about the vastness of space, and I just couldn't believe that human beings were the only intelligent life forms out there. It didn't ring true to me, you know, with all the room out there, you know, and all the possibilities and probabilities. I just thought, I hope we're not the only ones. My God. Okay. Anyway, I was in 8th grade when I first remember it happening. Okay, I was in 8th grade, and I was coming home alone from a football practice. I guess it was fall, because I just had my jersey on and my shoulder pads. And I was riding my bike down Chesterfield Road in our neighborhood, and there's a set of row houses across the street, and I'm on the sidewalk across the street, and all of a sudden from over the row houses, I see this round object, and it was, I know, an airplane. This thing had lights going around it, okay, like white, bright lights going around it, and it was metallic, okay, and I looked up, and this thing, it was moving across the houses, and then when I saw it, that thing stopped on a dime. A helicopter can't do that, a plane can't do that. I'm old enough to know that, okay, in 8th grade. I'm like, what is that? I stopped in my tracks, and I'm looking at it, and it's hovering like it was looking back at me. It was really strange. And then I'm looking, and I guess my jaw dropped, and I'm like, what the hell could this be? And then all of a sudden, that thing just made a right. I mean, it took a 90-degree right and just went, no sound. No sound at all, nothing. And then I went home, and I didn't say anything about it because I thought everyone would think, what are you drinking at football practice? What are they smoking over there? So I didn't say anything, but I went to bed, and I could swear that I was transported somewhere. I don't know how, but I know I wasn't home anymore. And I'll go through the story, but I know that I was somehow in the sky on some kind of vessel. And I was on a table. Now, I know everybody hears the X-Files about, you know, the poking and the prodding and the surgical stuff and the drilling of the teeth, you know, and the implants. I didn't have any of that. I did not see any other human beings. I don't remember being hurt ever, but I did see what had me on a table. Oh, yeah, and they made noise. It seemed like, okay, they were, I guess, 6 foot tall. They had very long arms, very long legs, and they had like the alien type head, okay, typical alien type head. But their eyes were like, you ever see a set of like 100 TVs, all small? I mean, their eyes were, I guess, like a fly. They had those little lenses, but there was like 100 of them in their eyes, and they wrapped way back here, okay? And their ears, they didn't have ears like we did, but it wasn't digits. It was 2 like flippers, like this, and they pressed buttons with their back to me, and every once in a while they would look at me and make sure I was still on that table. But I felt paralyzed, but not hurt at all. I could see, I could hear, and I know I heard because they made noise. They talked to each other in a click. Not like they went click, 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 and they were actually communicating because one would click, 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 and the other one click, 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 and they would be pressing these buttons. But I didn't feel any kind of poking or prodding or no drill. I wasn't harmed, but I'll tell you what, when I got back, when I realized I was back home. Okay, you know how you wake up from a good sleep, you feel refreshed. When this happened to me, I was exhausted. I was completely exhausted. I don't know about anybody else because I did talk to someone from MUFON, but I've never really talked to another abductee like I believe I was. And so I don't know what they say, but I was completely exhausted. And I guess it was, now I'm in high school and it happened again. But this time when I came back, not only was I exhausted, but I knew something happened in time. Like I had lost hours, you know, not the 7 minutes the X-Files does. I had lost hours of my life somehow. And instead of being in bed, rested 8 hours, I was completely drained the next morning. Each time it happened, I was completely drained. Now I'm in high school, and we were going swimming, and this was after my second experience. The first one was in 8th grade, and then I was, I guess, 9th grade. And we were going swimming, and my sister said, "What happened to your back?" I'm like, "Nothing, why?" She's like, "Robin, you have a big giant scar on your back. It looks like a bullet hole or something." She's like, "You need to get that checked out. That could be cancerous or something." Well, we went to the doctors, and I have asked 100 doctors. I've asked a dozen doctors, "Can you tell me what is on my back?" And not one doctor has been able to tell me what the heck this mark is on my back. And it was never there before. Now, I'll show it to you if you want, but I had never seen anything like it. And no doctor to this day has been able to tell me what it was. One doctor said, "It's a birthmark." I said, "No, silly, that's a birthmark right there." I said, "I had that since birth." I'm like, this came in freshman year of high school. Can you see it? Okay, and if you look close at it, you can see two little markings in the middle of it. And that has been with me since freshman year of high school. It never goes away. It never hurts. It itches once in a while. And my mom was beside herself. She's like, "What the heck is that? Did you get burned?" I'm like, "Mom, if it was a burn, it would be, you know, blistered. It would be scabbing." I'm like, "There's never been a scab on it. It never bleeds, but it has been there." And when you see it, you can look into it and see there's two little points in there. Okay, like two little holes in the middle of it. No idea where it came from. It has been with me since freshman year of high school. And then this is even stranger because I guess it was 2 years after that. I was a senior then, and I thought, you know, maybe I had smoked too much pot or something like that, but I didn't. But I was going again, and it was the same thing. I got up exhausted, and I know I was on some kind of metallic table. It wasn't because it wasn't comfortable. Okay, it wasn't hurtful at all, but it was not comfortable, and I was a little bit, this time, fearful. But something in my head was telling me, you do not have to be afraid, okay, that there's nothing for me to fear, but I was being examined, okay, because there was these things above me. I don't know how, of course, but I could feel that these beings were checking on me. Like it was the same thing, and I heard the same clicking. I heard the same clicking. I saw the same beings. Okay, I never saw the outside of whatever kind of craft I was in. But I knew damn well that I went from a bed into that craft and that we were flying. I could feel it. You can feel when you're flying. Okay, you can feel it. I knew I was flying, and I knew I was up in the air. I was not hurt, but I wasn't comfortable. But there was something telling me in my head, you don't have to fear, okay? You're going back, you're okay. And what are you going to say? Like, no, I'm going to tell my mom, you better bring me back now. No, I just went with it. And it was, I guess, a couple months later that my mom noticed my arms and hers. My mother and me had the same scars on our arms in the same exact places, both forearms, okay? And can't remember where they ever came from. And they're right here. There's one. Oh, here it is right there. That's a scar. And in the exact same place, and if you measure it, it's the same place. There's one right here, okay, right there. And my mom has the same scars on hers with the same distance from the elbow joint to the scar. Same exact distance. And guess what? My daughter has them. My daughter, Amanda, because one day I said, Amanda, let me see your arms. And she said, no, there's no drugs in me. And I'm like, no, let me see your arms. She has the same scar running across the inside of her forearms. I said, do you know that your grandmother who had passed, I said, she had them. And I said, I had them. She goes, Dad, where did they come from? I'm like, Amanda, I have no idea. And she was with me as a baby. They weren't there. But I noticed them when she was about 12 or 13. You know, teen girls, they should be outlawed. Well, anyway, I noticed them when she turned, I guess, 13 or 14. And I said, wait a minute, let me see your arms. And she's like, what? And I'm like, no, let me see. She had the same exact, see it right here? She had the same exact scars that I had and my mother had. And that was, I guess, senior year. I was a senior in high school. And I know that I was taken again. And then one more time that I can remember, but I was in the Army then. And it happened again. And I don't know how, I never felt transport from my bed to the ship. But I knew I had just moved at some kind of rapid pace. And that I knew that I was laying in my bed and that I somehow got transported and I was flying. And it was the same, I don't know what the outside of the ship looked like, but it was the same kind of insides, and there was all kinds of like instrumentation I had never seen. And there was nobody at a wheel like we would be, like a pilot. This thing was just moving and I could feel it. And I wasn't strapped down. Okay, it was a metallic table, but I was not strapped down. I know, what's his name, David Duchovny, or I know they're all strapped down. I was not held down. Not at all, but I could not move. It was like a paralytic was injected into me somehow, okay? And I was paralyzed, but I could see, I could smell, I could hear perfectly. You know, and at first, that scares the hell out of you, okay? When you're paralyzed, you know, that scares the hell out of you. And I thought, at first I told myself, it's a dream, and you're gonna wake up any minute. No, because when you're in that kind of dream and you're saying you're going to wake up, your body usually wakes itself up. I could not get out of it, and it was a while that I was there. And again, when I woke up, it was like I had just worked 7 double shifts in a row. I wasn't, you know, okay, if you go out all night with your friends and stuff like that and you wake up tired, this was so different. It was as if my legs and all the muscles in my body had been used constantly for 24 hours, and I was completely drained, and I had to wake up and go to school like that. I was in high school, freshman year, senior year, and then I was in the Army and had to go run PT in the morning, and I was completely drained. And it was the same thing every time. I never saw the outside of the craft I was in, but I knew I was transported, I knew I was in a craft, and I knew I had lost time. I knew, and it wasn't no 7 minutes. I had lost considerable hours of my life. And the weirdest part was the waking up and being totally drained of any energy. You know, I wasn't hurt. I had no hurt, and I started checking myself for more markings. Nothing. And I actually went to an Army doctor. I went to, where was I? I was in Landstuhl Army Hospital in Germany. And I said, Doc, while I'm here, could you do me a favor? I said, can you look at this mark on my back? And he went to look at this mark and he said, did you get burned? And I said, no. He goes, what is that? I'm like, Doc, I have no idea. It's been there since freshman year of high school. He's like, I've never seen anything like that. And I've had people take pictures of this and send it out on the internet asking other people if they had seen something like this. No one's been able to explain what the hell that is. My mom had me checked. She said, maybe that's cancer. Maybe it's some type of skin cancer. They took a piece of it. They said, that's not cancer. It doesn't grow. It doesn't shrink. You can scrub it. It doesn't bleed. It has never bled on me. It has never hurt me, but it's been there since my second experience. And it still has never went away, and still just no one's been able to explain it. And it doesn't bother me at all. I guess now I've come to the realization that what I thought as a child about space is correct. To me, that's correct. Like, there's no one that can tell me that that didn't happen to me, and there's no one that can tell me that there's not other intelligent beings out there. Now, I'm not talking little green men, because these guys weren't green and they weren't little. They were much taller than me. They were much taller than me. And the last experience I had was here in Virginia. And I guess it was about 5 years ago. We're coming down Route 15, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning. And we're coming down Route 15, and I'm driving, and my friend Nicole is in the passenger side. And all of a sudden, this thing came flying at our windshield. I mean, speed of light flying. Zoom, and stopped at my windshield, and it was this big at my windshield. That's it. It was that big, and then okay, I'm doing 70 miles an hour at 2 in the morning on Route 15, okay, 15 South. I want to get home. I'm doing 70 miles an hour, and this thing came to my windshield, and we're ducking, because we're thinking this thing's going to crash right through the glass. It stopped right in front of my windshield, and as I'm moving 70 miles an hour, that thing stayed right there. And it looked like it was looking into us the way we were looking out the glass. And then all of a sudden, it went, phew. It turned and went that way over a farm, and we never saw it again. And we looked at each other. We stopped the car, actually, because it shook us. First, we thought we were going to get hit. And this thing, it looked like it was looking in the windshield at us as we were looking out of this, and it was no bigger than that. And we looked at each other and said, what the hell just happened? And it was so surreal that we pulled the car over and we started looking over the farmland. That thing was gone, and this guy had hundreds of acres for cattle. That thing was completely gone in the 10 seconds it took me to pull the car over. That thing was completely gone, and this was before drones. Okay, drones are big now, so it could not have been a drone, because one, a drone could not have stopped that quickly, and it could not have hovered while I'm doing 70, and that thing stayed at my windshield. But we both felt that something was looking in the windshield of that car as we were looking at it, like with our jaws dropped. But that night, I thought, I'm going away. Here I go again. But nothing happened to me. But I felt like they were looking. It felt like they were looking. And it felt like they were looking at me, like, that's him, and we're checking. And then I was telling you earlier about my friend. His name's Chuck, and we were the best friends in the Army, and he died a few years ago. And he came to me one night in a dream, and we went into a wooded area, like this. But we went into this wooded area that was remote. Is a good word for it. There was no other human beings there. And we turned a corner, and there was this machinery. I mean, high-tech machinery everywhere in a remote section of the woods. You know, I mean, it was high-tech, and there was video, and there was audio, and there was everything there. I mean, way advanced stuff. And he told me they're always watching. And he told me a date, but I can't remember the date. Yeah, he told me a date in my head, but I've never been able to remember the date. I wrote it on the windshield of a car once, but I forgot it. But he told me a date when I think he said he's coming or they're going to come back. And he said, you have to do what's right because someone is always watching. And it made me think of all the experiences I had before. And I started to think, wait a minute. I grew up Catholic. Okay, I went to Christ the King grade school. I went to Archbishop Ryan Boys High School. I believe in God and Jesus. And I started questioning evolution, God, the Big Bang. And I'm like, maybe we were put here by another race as some kind of experiment, and they are watching us. And some of us get taken to see, you know, I mean, if you think about it, human beings, we're a little nuts. I mean, we have all this room here, and we fight over patches of ground. I mean, we kill each other over patches of ground. And I sometimes think that maybe, this is going to sound bad, sometimes we were a mistake by another race, and they come back to check on us and maybe set things right. I don't know, but I just had the distinct feeling that they all connected. I mean, all my experiences, if you want to call them abductions, I just felt that somehow they were all connected. And that when my friend who had passed, he passed and he knew now, but you know, he showed me a glimpse and told me they're always watching. And that, at first I thought, oh, maybe it's angels or God watching. And I said, no, God wouldn't need that kind of technology. God is, you know, the all-seeing eye, ever present. And I still believe in God and Jesus. But I started questioning everything then, okay? Like myself, the human race, this planet, okay? What we believe. I started questioning, maybe God also created other races of people, and that race, if you want to call it an alien race, of course that's what we call it, but we're aliens to them. Anyway, God created an alien race, and that alien race put us here, okay? And they come back to check on us. And I hear people say, well, why didn't you see them anymore? Well, they were more advanced than we were, so I think they're up there all the time, but we can't see them anymore. They're smart enough to get here, okay, when, I mean, the closest star system, the closest solar system is light years away. So they have to be way more advanced than us. I just think that, you know, they know how to get here without us knowing it all the time. You know, I think if there's a crash, it's a mistake. You know, I mean, they're not human, but maybe they make mistakes too. You know, and here's another thing I always thought about. People always carry a gun. Well, if I see an alien, I'll shoot him. Well, maybe that doesn't hurt them. Maybe your garden hose will. Who knows? Okay? Who knows? We don't know that. Maybe, you know, maybe if you hit them with a green bush, a fig tree, they die. You know? But I just started questioning everything, that last experience. It wasn't scary because my friend was with me, but he took me into a remote place. And I'm telling you, this whole area that we're parked in, this whole area, it was full. And the machines went all the way 50 feet into the air. And they were all over. There was no one watching them. There was no one controlling them. But my friend pointed to them and said, they're always here. They're always watching. And that was the end of the dream. And I thought, that was really strange, but then I started putting it all together, and I said, you know what? All this has happened to me. I believe it's connected. And there is no one ever in my life, you cannot tell me, a priest, a psychologist, a parapsychologist, a doctor, you cannot tell me that this did not happen to me, because to me, I know a dream, and I know when it's not a dream. And this was not a dream, and this was real. These things happened to me. I'm just glad that I was never harmed. Like, I know some people, I've read in magazines where some people, they did tests on them and they were harmed. You know, X-Files does that kind of stuff. I was never harmed, but I did come back with markings. I did come back with unexplainable markings, and I thought it was really strange. My mom pointed out before she passed. She's like, what? Don't you ever think about our scars? And I'm like, but see, that could be explained with genetics. You know, that could be our bodies were related. But she said, then why did they just appear after like a certain time? Why wasn't I born with that? You know, and you could see there, you could see it in the light now. There it is right there. And the same one, this is right there. See that? Right there. And my daughter, my mother, me, all have the same markings, but we were not born with them, but they appeared. They appeared, and the one on my back, that is from, you can't forget it. I mean, it was never there before, and it appeared 9th grade in high school, and is still there today. Look, I do everything you're supposed to do. I pay my bills, you know, I take care of the kids, you know, the girlfriend, you know, cook dinner. I'm making tacos tonight. But, okay, I really believe that if I pass today, I'm going to be okay. I really, truly believe that, and I believe that it's all connected. God, what we call aliens, us, I believe it's all connected like a circle. You know, like life. Life, really, you just go in a big circle. And I believe this is all connected, like Taoists believe in a total connection. I just believe this is all connected, and what happened to me was for a reason. Maybe some of us are picked or chosen. That song talks about it. That one I was telling you about, Rosetta Stone by Tool. Yeah, I'm a big Tool fan, camera people. Anyway, Rosetta Stone talks about it. And the guy who was abducted said, they chose me. Me? They chose me? I didn't even graduate from freaking high school, he says, but they chose me. I don't know why some people were chosen, why not, but I feel I was chosen for a reason. Maybe because I'm not afraid of it. I don't know. Maybe I am one, and I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I'm like an experiment, you know, I don't know. But at first it kind of was scary, and then not anymore. And I actually look forward to it. Yeah.